Okay, so we have really 4 different portals and that are available for you guys to use. The first one, which I think most people know, is the Recruiter Learning Portal. It's right here on the front. This is where we put a lot of our new resources. You can easily find our YouTube page. We also have the referral tool. We have a series on balanced recruitment. We have the skills assessment. It's just kind of general things that recruiters could need to know, and it's divided into different topics that could be helpful. So I'm pretty sure most people know about that, but we have 3 brand new ones. And I feel like some people know about some of these and some may not. And so I'm going to start first with the agriculture portal, then the resource one, and then we'll really spend most of our time on the learning portal. So this first one that I'm going to show you, we have been compiling lists of agriculture information for states for a long time. And sometimes we may send it out to one person and there can be turnover and maybe other recruiters never saw it or never knew that it existed. And so this is our attempt to make you guys' life a lot easier with knowing where there is some national listings and some resources that are available to get actual listings of farms, to have your H2A information, to have all of the agriculture entities that we could find in your state, that associations that might have meetings or things that you want to partner with. So we have done one of these for every single state. Now, our IDRC states do have an additional list where we went in and tried to find as many farms as we possibly can through Manta. And so you guys can do the same if you wanted, but that was something extra that we did for our member states. But if you open up any state, you'll be able to see that there is a Google Doc. We don't give access for editing for this, but we will make any changes that someone feels like would be helpful for their state. Maybe you have an additional resource list that you think recruiters should know about for your state. We can add that on. So what we did was, first thing, add all the contacts for MEP in a really easy way to find. Then we have the National Farm Contractors List. We also, in case that you don't have maps, we're huge believers in having something on your phone so you can actually kind of click and see when you're out in the field. We have a batch geo map for every single list, and that's kudos from Melissa that works with us. She did a lot of work on this, but you'll open these up and it will be the most updated one. You can add it to your Google Drive. If you add it to your Drive, when we add the new ones, they'll automatically be on there. So, and then we have, like I said, every single one of these have maps. The map password is always capital IDRC. And so you could look here, Alabama, for example, and see here are the labor contractors for Alabama. And so these are here for everybody. We've noticed some states are paying people to make these lists. They're free. You don't have to pay anybody. So whenever we find these new things, we're adding them into, like USDA has a rural housing list. These are all the subsidized housing. A lot of times it's farm worker housing. We just found these lists. We just added those on. So if you click onto here, you'll see the USDA rural housing for Alabama. So Melissa keeps these very updated. And so you can kind of see sometimes it lists all of them. And then again, you'll have, this one we just barely are working on adding. This is a brand new thing. I don't think anyone has seen these yet. Below this, we have a national listing of mobile home parks and maps for that. We have the USDA egg, poultry, and meat inspection list, the most updated list there. And then we have gone through and tried to get the FOIA request for any, when possible, hemp lists for states so they can see where their hemp farms are. Then you scroll down, we've got your state ag website. Everyone's, they're all different. We've got all the relevant agriculture associations and websites for your state. So these are people that if I was in Alabama, I could go and contact them. So Israel says any list of hemp farms. I just mentioned that we have the hemp list. It's going to look different because hemp is not, states don't have to give like the address and the phone number, but they do, a lot of times will give the names of the company itself. And so you can open it up and see. Some of you lucked out and we could get a lot of information. Some of them, like here we are in Alabama, they've got a list of all the growers right there. So we've tried to do a little work so we can have this for every single state. Password is always capital IDRC. So that's the same for each one. There also is an ag census query tool, which I think we've showed this several times. If you open up the link for this, you can look by county at the number of farm workers that's in each county. It's the only place that you can find that number. And then we have the ag census profile information. We could do a whole training just on these 2 things. But this exists for every single state that's there. And so this is really, you could build some really comprehensive Google Maps for your state just with those lists that already exist. If you're not sure how to do that and you're thinking, well, I'd love to have a list, but a map, but I'm not sure, go to our YouTube channel. We have several mapping trainings right there that you can just watch and learn how to do that. But your lists are already there. That's the agriculture portal. So the second one that I want to show you is the resource portal. So the idea behind this was sometimes you go into a home and the parent may need, they're wanting to know where a local ELL program is, or maybe they need that one of their kids needs eyeglasses. We used to make, when I was coordinator Tennessee, we'd make a paper resource guide for every single county. And we'd carry those with us and share all this information. So what we've done is something similar, try to find the virtual search engines for your state for the various things. So if we looked at Alabama again, you open this up, we have everything we could possibly think of that you might need for Alabama or for any state. The same things exist. This was with help from our, we have teams in IDRC that they, technical support teams. And so they thought out what they really wanted in these resource links. And so we have everything from 211 to 4-H to adult ed. But if you click on this, it will be the state specific website. And then you can look through and try to find out who's eligible. Some of them, most of them, it's specific, like here's Catholic Charities, and you can put your address in and find the Catholic charity that's right closest to you. And so we tried to find searchable things that were available for each state. So we've got Catholic Charities, we've got churches, consulates, dental, domestic violence, driver's ed, just anything you could think of, employment opportunities, eyeglasses for the Lions Club to be able to find their searchable site for your state, farm worker jobs, fire departments, food banks, healthcare providers. So as you can see, lots and lots of information. But the idea was maybe I'm in Tennessee and I have a family that's going to Kentucky and they're going to go to a specific place and they need to find out, they want to find out something about the area they're going. I can go and look on Kentucky's resource guide and find that information right there. So it was our attempt to, again, try to hopefully make your life a little bit easier. This is not designed for families. I've had people say, well, can you send me the link so I can share with families? These are designed so that you can do the search in a quick way and find the information quickly in one spot and then be able to quickly share it with them. You could, of course, make something yourself for them, but our attempt was to help recruiters and help supervisors be able to find that information. So like you see, we're still going, suicide prevention, United Way, WIC, workers' rights, and they're all state specific. So we did this for every single state, and you can go through, find your state and use that. So right here, we added them right to the beginning of the, of the page so that you could easily find them. We'll keep them on the front page. So remember, agriculture portal for all your maps, for all your information that you want there, resource portal for those, community partners. You could be trying to reach out and, find other people that you might need to work with, or you could be sharing resources that, to families that might be helpful for them. So if you have any specific questions, feel free to put it in the chat. So the third one that we're really going to spend most of our time on today is called the Learning Portal. So this is a student and family learning portal. I know ISOC, I think we all have been using the terminology of portals here. I know they have their OSY portal. This is different. We have a kind of a different thought process and kind of what we were wanting to do. So I'm going to share some slides with you that kind of walks you through what we're thinking and why we have this. And then we'll go and kind of play with the portal itself, and it's all available for everybody, so you can feel free to use it. So we have a work group that was specifically designed to look at beginning services. And we know that beginning services look different from everybody, in each state. And the idea was, what could we create that would help states across the board? We wouldn't be stepping on anybody's toes as far as, what is a service in one state and what is not, but it would be academic, it would be fun, it would be something that kids could access themselves, and it would be comprehensive. And so there were several things we were thinking about when we were creating this. We wanted it to provide a resource that would be beneficial to every migrant program. We wanted it to be free. We wanted it to be easily able to be navigated by a student or by a parent. We wanted it accessible in all languages. And we wanted to really provide a background for the academic subjects. Sometimes we focus a lot on, on things as far as, that we're not really delving as deep as we can in academics. So we wanted to make sure that it was strong in that area. And we wanted it to have the sites that we shared to have educational value and academic value, that the kids could see, families could see, and tutors and teachers and recruiters could easily access. And so the idea really started several years ago. I want to make sure I give credit to where it came from. Several years ago, Iowa, the state of Iowa, I do websites and stuff on the side and had for years. They had reached out and asked if I could create a website for them they were wanting to do a summer program that would have kids come in a summer feeding program, and they wanted somewhere that kids could kind of do things online and maybe they could track their improvement, and it would be something that would be fun. And my background, I'd worked in 21st century while I was working in migrant in Tennessee for about 12 years. And we had a lot of websites that we would have kids go to, when it was a transition time or when they were, they were done with homework help and they needed to be able to continue to learn. And so we kind of sat there and brainstormed ideas and came up with a small portal that they used. And then it kind of took off. Kansas also made one. So this is kind of that idea on steroids. And so we really wanted something more than just to always have everything tracked. We wanted it so that we could have things that could be tracked if kids go in and study, but things that would really be helpful to students. And so I think they both have really good portals still, but this one has a lot more. Really important components of this, just to kind of give you a little bit of background, is the way that it's set up is we have things in grade spans. We have something for pre-K all the way through OSY. So that's all your K through 12. And in all of them, we're looking for really high quality websites that will help students improve their math skills, improve their reading skills, their writing, their science, social studies, and then we included STEM. We wanted somewhere that they could explore, but also somewhere that could be deep enough that if you're a tutor and you don't have a lot of curriculum resources, that this would be a good place for you to start. And so it was kind of like, how do we find these things that are engaging? We had the pandemic happen. And then all of a sudden there was a lot more online resources than we had, 3 or 4 years ago. And so we were able to kind of harness some of the best of those to be able to put it into the portal. And so the idea was to make sure that most of these would not require an email or a logon. So if a student, even if you had like a 5-year-old that wanted to learn to practice their numbers or shapes, that they could click on a website and it would be something that intuitively would be fun for that 5-year-old to do it. And the parent wouldn't have to be sitting there saying, hey, you need to do this. It would be something that they would want to do once the parent had showed them how to do that. We also wanted to empower parents to we realized that the parents are not going to always sit down and, and have the time to tutor their student right there. But if there was a language option that they could, read it in their own language and maybe choose a website the child could go to, that would be a way to kind of empower them to be able to do some of that. So we do have a language widget, which I'll show you in just a little bit, that will change the language so that all the IDRC pages that kind of set it up to where you can send out, and I'll show you in just a second, those can be in any language. But as soon as we navigate out of that, then it's going to be, another website. And of course we have no control over that language. So the sites that I'm going to show you most of them are pretty much game-based or are tutorials or something that can be kind of engaging. They can go, as the kids get older, we start having more learning concepts that they can watch through videos and kind of study. So maybe if they're struggling really in algebra and they don't have a tutor, we have some really good sites that break it down, that they can pick the area of algebra that they're working on and they can watch the tutorial and kind of navigate areas that they might not have the assistance that they need. So the content sections, the way that it looks is we've got something for pre-K, and I'll show you that in a little bit. We've got grades, we broke it into grade spans. So grades that we're working on similar things. So we've got K through 2, then 3 through 5, 6 to 8, then high school students. We have a section for OSY. We have virtual field trips, which some of these we kind of like virtual field trips could be for any grade level. So this is just a kind of an interesting way that you can sit down and show them through lessons, different things that they can participate in. We have a parent section that mentions a lot of really good websites and has some information that again can be translated into any language that if parents are comfortable navigating. I realize that's not the case with all of our families, but if they're comfortable, then there's some resources there. We also have a teacher section. These are trackable websites. So most of the websites in the portal that are for all the other grade spans are just kids can go in, they can practice, they can play games, they can learn. You can sit there if you're tutor and pull videos and all of these different things that they can work with. But the teacher section actually has a section that you can enroll them into free online resources where they can learn more math through games or reading or writing. And so we tried to find some of the best free ones that which you would have to have an email for those. So we kind of sectioned those off in a different place, assuming that a tutor would be working with families and this would be a trackable way that you could see their progress. So here is an example of like the pre-K. The pre-K section is a little bit less than most of them. It's just navigatable websites that, that the pre-K student could actually do themselves to watch videos, to practice math, to be able to learn more about the alphabet. And they are completely geared to pre-K students. And so we have a page of those. The good thing is if you have a resource that you really love that you think would be good for this, is we can completely expand to include a lot more resources. And so we have a section. This pre-K is focused on, kindergarten readiness. So it's everything from learning the alphabet to, math skills, some literacy skills, but it's very much focused on that pre-K readiness. Then we turn into, and I'll go there and we'll kind of navigate out to the different sites in just a second, but I want you to kind of see what our thought process was on this. In our K through 2 grade span, we now expand into looking specifically at math, specifically at reading, writing, science, social studies, and STEM. Grade 3 to 5 is still very similar. There's not much changes there, except the websites are now geared towards 3rd to 5th graders. They're not geared towards kindergartners. Sometimes you may have a 3rd grader that really needs to be down doing 2nd grade skills. Well, that's okay. You can go down to the, K through 2 skills and pick something out from there. Once we get to the 6 to 8, we still keep those same subjects that we had before, but we just start to add in more of the conversation to explore careers. So there's some really good middle school websites that kind of introduce kids to different types of careers. And so we added that section in. And so language arts, instead of having reading and writing separate, we're putting them all together into a language arts section. And now we are kind of expanding to begin this conversation with students on career exploration. Then when you get to the 9th through 12th grade span, we still have math, we still have language arts, again, kind of everything summed together, science, social studies, and we get more into the idea of exploring career paths with high school related navigable websites for students to be able to use, and then college prep. And so the college prep has really good sites that you can use to try to find colleges, to figure out how much, where different career opportunities or different study opportunities are available. We have FAFSA, we have FastWeb, things that you can actually apply for scholarships. We have those kind of things in there. And that is one of the few areas where an email is required. So we figured by then a high school student should know about emails. And if they're signing up for scholarship notifications, that's a place that they would ask them for an email. On our OSY grade span, I know ISOC has a ton of wonderful resources. We kind of went a little bit of a different direction on the websites that if an OSY was wanting to learn more math on their own, that would be easily able to use and play games and do things related to that. Same thing for reading, for writing. We add in life skills, and our life skills, I know ISOC has a whole bunch of life skills. We'll show you our life skills pages. There's some self-navigable things that you can do with pesticides and with health and with, we've got some high set information, and then we have lots of resources for ELL that are very much geared for the student themselves to be able to study on their own. So they're really good picture dictionary sites that have audio and visual and things like that. And then we have our section on virtual field trips. So we're gonna go there and play around and look at it, but I just wanted you to kind of see the big picture of how it's set up. Our virtual field trips were literally to be able to help kids see all over the world right from their home. And so this is one of my favorite ways to introduce the portal to kids, to be able to say, hey, check this out. Here's some, if you want to go see a farm in Canada, here's a whole bunch of farm 360s that you can go and actually kind of walk all over the farm virtually. So we'll look at that too here in a sec. We also have the parent section, which I mentioned, that talks about federal student aid portal that kind of has information in English and Spanish. We've got PBS parents. All of the ones we chose have both English and Spanish. I know that's not the only language that, that families speak, but it was a good start. And so we have that information there. And then we have the section for instructors, and we'll go there in just a second. And then the last one we have is a summer learning one. We have for IDRC states, so some of you guys have joined because we asked IDRC states to join. We have bags that we're giving to our IDRC states for free that have the QR code on the front that has some student supplies. And so one of the things it has is some art supplies. And so we have a summer learning page where kind of a way to intro the portal to families to say, hey, we've got, some really cool sites. We used to give out books, like how to draw. And this is some really good websites through YouTube that the kids can sit down and learn how to draw. But then some states you can actually do a contest to see how many, books that kids can listen to. And so we've got some websites like Storyline. Oops, sorry, I'll have to go to the Storyline and some other ones. We'll go here in just a second so you can see it. But the idea of like drawing and reading and then actually creating a book, there's resources right there specifically that you can see. And so for our IDRC states, you can request the bags and we'll send those to you. And so as we go delve deeper into kind of what the site looks like, those bags are specifically to help introduce and to sit down and be able to either do a tutoring session or to be able to get students introduced to how to use the portal and how they can use that in the summer. And so it's a way to kind of have something in your hand that you can sit down with that QR code and show them easily how to access that. So we do have for other states, because we had lots of requests, we partner with Fort Scott. And so if other states are interested in, they can make their own materials for the QR code. They don't have to get bags through us, but our IDRC states can get those totally free. Non-IDRC states, if you want to order them, then I'll show you. It's on our What's New page. You can do that too. So let me show you the website. We'll kind of navigate through that. So, okay, so here we are right here in the front. And let me close out a few things or my computer will start going crazy for all the stuff I have open. So right in the very top of this is the language widget. So when I click on this, I can change it to any language right there, and it'll automatically change it. And so wherever I go, it will continue to keep it in Zulu until I change it back. So right there, that's always at the top. There's always a back to the portal home right there button, and then the language widget is right there. And so we want to make sure that that is something that families are aware of, so that if you were explaining to a mom, maybe I'm one of the IDRC states and I have those bags and I want to say, hey, we have this portal, that would be something I would be making sure that I would show of how important it is for parents. Like a lot of kids have access to tablets, a lot of kids are online, they can have more say in what their kids are doing online and know of more places that they could send. That would be a good place for their kids to go. So when you first open the pre-K website, let me make sure I'm sharing my screen. Yeah. Again, these are just very easy to navigate websites that kids can go and listen to and play games. So they can do games, videos, arts. These are simple things that are learning sites. So we've got Starfall, we've got FunBrain. We start out like with Story Online. It's one of our favorite ones. This is a great site that they can actually sit down and listen to books being read by all sorts of famous people that are, it's pretty interesting how they read to them. And then it kind of does a little bit of the illustrations and movement in the book, so they can go there. And in each one of them, we also tried to find some YouTube videos, and that would be helpful for kids. World is a really good one. We've got National Geographic. So this is kind of the first page for pre-K. So we didn't break it down into math and science, all of those things. We just focused on just simple, basic kindergarten readiness. So then we break into kindergarten through second. So when you open these, you go to math, you're going to open up, and then there's going to be specific K through 2 math games. So ABC is a free one, PBS Kids, math games. Sometimes like this one, for example, is looking at kind of strategic games. So you have checkers and chess and, all reversi, all of these things that you can just go on and play. And so they can do the math games. There's a math story time that it's math related books. FunBrain has a whole bunch of different, games that kids can play. So these are all kind of games that they can go on. Same thing for reading. You open it up. We have books that they can listen to. We have some sites. Maybe you have a child that's really struggling with just, learning to read. So we've got some resources there. Got reading games. And then sometimes like we add Storyline again, because it's super helpful. So we've added that in. FunBrain has some really good online interactive books for different grades. And so you can literally go to FunBrain and look at the different grade spans that you want to, and you've got titles that you can read and they can listen to. Super helpful when you don't have library books for a child, and they can just go in and read those at any time. Then we love National Geographic, so they have a whole bunch of like weird but true sections that you can kind of read about. So each section is very similar in that we're looking for things that would be helpful related to writing. So you can design your own book here. You can, there's games, again, still on that K through two grade span that we're looking at. And there are writing games there. There's, trying to think of what the Mad Libs, there's some National Geographic Mad Libs. Each one's a little bit different, but again, it was supposed to be something that you could sit down as a tutor and do some of these things with them, or you could, suggest that they work on some of these different things. Same thing for science, trying to find very interactive things that are helpful. BBC has a bunch of bite-sized videos that are really good that explain a lot of different things science related. We've got weird but true things from National Geographic. So all of these are going to be something that we're hoping that kids would be interested. They would be able to click on here and be able to do this themselves, even if an adult wasn't able to help them navigate through it. Sorry, I'm talking too much. There's a virtual explorer that they can go and, on here and see, travel the world with, do different things specifically with the Explorer. So a lot of these are sites that you might want to spend a little bit of time just to go there and see what's there, and then think of, if you are a tutor, of your students, of which things might be added into your lessons, or maybe you want to build a lesson related, around one of these resources that exist. Then in every single one, we also have a STEM section. And so we look at STEM related sites that exist right now for that particular grade span. Same thing exists in each one. So I'm going to I won't go through every single thing because you can do a lot of these on your own, but I'm just going to put some of our favorites and just kind of highlight a few things. We really tried to make sure that these were all very interactive, very fun things for kids. And so you see, we still have Storyline here because it's still relevant. But then as the kids get a little bit older, we start finding news sites that will let them be able to see world news in, related to different grade levels. And so you can go in, we have a global digital library, interesting articles that are happening all over, and more of, articles, again, that are related to that span. And so each one we tried to really go through and think about, the skills that they need to, the specific targets that they have for their different grade levels, and make sure that we're putting things that would be helpful. Maybe they need to do a science project, and so they need an idea for coming up with a science project. So we have those ideas in there. We also have a lot of the different YouTube channels that could be helpful for them to continue to learn those science things, skills on their own if they need to, but in an interactive kind of fun way to watch things. And so that's kind of 3 to 5. Again, each one goes up. 6 to 8. One of you put a question as far as like writing. Is there any way to help with like essays? We start to make sure that we know that they're different skills that they're needing to improve. And so we have more things specifically about their writing games and practicing writing skills for different levels. There are some storyboard things where they can put stories and put, their different parts that they want included. We have TED Ed has a whole bunch of resources that they can use there. So each section, again, it just keeps getting deeper and deeper. And you can kind of see, we repeat a few of these, like the ology ones are helpful for both 3rd through 5th and 6th through 8. But most of the time we're changing them and it's not the same ones. That way you have a pretty deep arsenal of places to really be able to go in and find different things. So the social studies ones, you can see starts to share some of the National Archive resources that are available for 6 through 8. Think along, there's some debates, some National Geographic 360 resources that they can see. iCivics starts to go into like government setup and understanding how branches of power and things related to that. So again, it continues to go up based on the grade level. Now 6 to 8 on the Explore Careers. This starts looking at like Bureau of Labor Statistics. They can look at about different careers in their own community. Road Trip Nation has some really cool videos and stories that you can listen to about people that, different types of jobs in different states. And so you can go in here and kind of, listen to those and share those with students as kind of part of your discussion with them. Jumpstart lets you do a reality check of how much you think life will cost. And so it gives them scenarios of like life expenses. Like, do you think you're going to live with your parents? Do you think you're going to live on your own? Do you want your own car? And then it gives them how much they would need to make in order to have this lifestyle that they think that they want to have. We also start kind of, looking specifically at careers for girls and then in general for boys too. this one is one of my all-time favorites. We used to do a leadership institute where we would have kids figure out what they want to be when they get older, but based on like they take a look at the career and how much money they would make, what's the need. And this is a profiler that you can go in and actually take a test. But this mynextmove.org is in English and Spanish. I'll just throw it in the chat box. This is pretty cool. So, and it's here they have mi próximo paso is the Spanish version of it. And I'll put that in there too. And the idea is maybe you have a student that wants to be a teacher. And so you put that in there and it'll give them an option of all of these different kinds of teachers. And so maybe they say, well, I want to be a high school teacher. So then you can open it up and it'll talk about the knowledge that they need to have, the skills that they need to have, the abilities they need to have. There's even a video about the career. And then you can look down here and see what education is required and how much it makes, because that's something that sometimes kids say they want to be something, they have no idea what that looks like. And then you can even look at what you would make locally. And so you can put your own zip code in there. I'm here in Tennessee, let's see if Tennessee teachers will make the same. And then it'll go in and say, okay, United States, it's 61,000. Tennessee, it's going to be 50,000. And so they can start seeing how things change, and they can also see the need of where this is, needed in different places. And then if you even have an older student, you can literally go in and find a job for that specific thing that you just looked at, and it'll help you find jobs within the area. We found no jobs for this within the next 50 miles. So this can really start discussions with kids on all different types of, jobs that they might possibly want. And so that's right there. So going now to high schoolers. So high schoolers, we're realizing a lot of them are not always having the resources that they need to be able for tutoring. So we really tried to look up specific interactive tutorials that would help them. We know that algebra is one of those areas that we're really looking at. And you can see we've got math tutorials they can take, geometry, and it's all broken down. So, you open it up and you're saying, I really need to look at specific angles, or I need to look at these different types of, algebra skills. And it'll say, well, are you looking at expressions? Are you looking at polynomial structure? And you can click on any of these, and then it'll give them information that they can actually study and look at. And there's a lot of videos. Math is Fun is also one that we use with the younger kids, but it has some really good tutorials for the older kids on calculus. Sometimes we've got a lot of different things that you can do, intro to all different sorts of things. So some of you as tutors may need to be helping a child do something. This might be a resource that you can go back to and use. AOPS online has a lot of videos on a lot of different things. Of course, you have Khan Academy that you can find specific things, but these are some that are, has a lot of different things that you can study related to math skills for high school students. Wyzant is also another one that has tons of resources. Enrich has a lot. This one is more of games that they can take, specifically do the challenges and do games related to different skills. So trying to, again, take it up to the level of high school students. Language arts, we take a look at more of like how to do your bibliographies, how to do some of your writing. You can join communities of writers. There's different things that they can do specifically there. And then we look at career exploration for the high school students. Mapping Your Future is more specifically that they can learn about how much it's going to cost to go to different universities in different places in the country. They can look for college. They can figure out how much they need to pay. Next Step U does something very similar. It also helps them look at scholarships. We have that same profiler that we mentioned. And then we also have several career placement kind of tests that they can take. We have a few of those things that we mentioned earlier. And then there's a really cool source called Career Village. You can actually reach out and ask questions to different people in different professions and get direct answers from them of specifically, related to their job, what they like, what they don't like. And so we included that in there. We also have the college prep section that looks, it says here NCES has a, they can kind of look at specifically how far they want to go, specific careers, and you'll let them search for universities that have that specific career and figure out how much it would cost. And so we also have FastWeb, College Board, Unigo has some scholarships. These are both places that you can sign up for scholarships and get automatic notifications of things that you might be eligible for. We've got some free ACT test prep and also the federal student aid. So it's just trying to be as comprehensive as we can of things that would be helpful for a high school student to be able to have. And so again, same thing for science, same thing for social studies. We're looking at, like, P-table is an interactive periodic table. This is things that could be helpful for them. Biointeractive has specific science-related, high school-related resources that they relate to most Common Core skills specifically for science. You can see there's also some climate resource. PHET has some online simulations. So if you're a tutor, you can really sit down and go through these and figure out how to really mesh with what your students have. As a recruiter, if unfortunately we know that nationally a lot of our migrant students are not being served, the more tools that we have in our belt that we can go in and work with them, it would help you to know just what's out there. And so these are all free. These are all things that you can go to. This one we have for high school, Learn Genetics. We've got NASA resources, interactives on science, NOVA, just really some really cool things that you can sit down and do sessions with kids. Then moving on to OSY. So OSY, we were thinking a little bit, the group specifically said we want as much comprehensive resources as you have for OSY as we have for the other grade span. So they didn't just want, one or two areas. They wanted us to kind of expand and think about that. So we know that OSY are all different grade levels. And so, some may have only gone to third grade, some may have just have one more year to finish. So with math, we were trying to think of skills in places where they could have websites that would be able to, some of these with language, there would have to be with a tutor. Some of them, they are, in some of these different areas have both multiple languages and they kind of pick. So math, we were looking at how to learn math. Reading, we're looking at specific ways that you can kind of learn to read in English or learn to read. GCF Global has a lot of resources that you can do word explorers and look at different types of words and they can listen and they can sound it out and they can do a bunch of different, reading related things. We've got basic reading. We've got some world news that they can do in English and Spanish. We've got books that they can listen to. News and Levels is kind of a cool resource where you can take the news and they update this, I think it's like weekly. And you can, if you're teaching an ELL class with them, or if you have a student that can read some in English, you have English, you have a level 1, and then there's a level 2. And so of course the verbiage will change and become more difficult. So this you can tie into some tutoring sessions with them also with current world news that's happening. We have moving into life skills. These are specific sites that we thought that would be helpful for OSY to know. For example, how to navigate Kelley Blue Book, how to know the value of a car. That could be something that you could sit down and work with them on. Rent.com, how do you find an apartment somewhere else? How do you find a house? And so rent.com exists all over the country. It's also, just a recruiting tip, it's also a great place to look at for housing that has people coming and going, because you can put the amount that you want to pay and see some of the lower end housing that might have more people moving in and out. And so you can kind of use that too, but this is to specifically show them how to do that. We have the worker protections and pesticide resources that are available in English and Spanish and other languages. There's a lot of money skills at this particular site, and I believe they have it in Spanish. Pretty sure that they have that. Medline also has an English and Spanish about all different kinds of health related information. So maybe they're just wanting to go on and learn about something, or maybe they're concerned about something. There's all sorts of medical encyclopedias, just information about anything related medically in both English and Spanish. We also, let me get out of this, Craigslist. This is just a great thing to teach them that exists if they want to put something up for sale, if they want to buy something. We've got some learn to cook videos that are just really good. We chose just some that were on YouTube that were pretty helpful. And then we've got the exchange rates, as far as the money exchange rates for different countries that they could check daily if they wanted to. So we also have HiSET, places where they can find adult ed, practice tests. We've got the HEP programs and the CAMP programs, and then support videos that Khan Academy has in different languages related to HiSET. So they can also go there. And then the English language site. This was with the idea that a lot of them may be navigating this completely by themselves. There are a lot of really good picture dictionaries that exist. And so this particular one is, you can go in, there's all different lessons, but this one's looking at different, maybe I want to look at baby items or banking and money. They have a bunch of different lessons that are a lot of pictures, a lot of vocabulary, a lot of things they can listen to. That's all there. Easy World of English has a lot of pronunciation tools that you can listen to. And so you can pronounce different words. My favorite is this language.org. They have all different parts of the body that, I don't know if you can hear it, but as you point to the different places, all of these different things that they have an audio, they have pictures and words, and you can listen and you can see this is something that they could kind of study on their own. There are some videos that they can listen to right here on We Speak, and I have ISOC resources because they have lots of really good resources right there. IDRC also has free books that everyone can use, and so we link those in. We have the English in Minutes books. Anyone can use them right there. We have the audio that you can download. And then we have the online books that they literally can just, Zoom is in the way, that you could share a link of the book with them. And you just share this link up here and the student can use it. All of those PDFs, just for your knowledge, if anyone ever wants to use them, all of the PDFs all of these can be printed and you can use them however you want. We've got Tennessee's old book, and we have an excellent one from South Carolina also that's included in there. And then we have some Spanish books, like maybe you have a farmer or someone that that's wanting to learn Spanish. We've got those that are also available. We have a Somali English dictionary, and we recently had a state that requested resources for Swahili speakers. And so we just went and found everything we could find online that was free, and added those in. And so those are also available. So then we have Duolingo and some ESL courses that you can take, specific courses that they can go in and pick different courses that they want on their own. So that was kind of what we included for the OSY. Moving on to the virtual field trips. These are really fun. Like we tested a lot of the portal out with students, and this is one of their favorite places. Airpano takes them all over the world. And so you can actually go in and say, I want to go to, let's see, we'll go to Mexico. And you can click on here and it will let you do these 360 views and airplane views of, all over. It's going to give you some music. My computer is kind of slow right now. It's not looking very pretty yet. I think I have too many things open. Let's see if it gets better. I don't think it's going to do it. But you can go in and see different formations, different places all over the world. Dollar Street's really interesting. So this site has families from all over the country. You can go anywhere, any country that you want. Maybe you want to go to the Netherlands. You can click on there and it'll show you all of the families from that particular place. But when you open it up, here's one from Ukraine. And you can go in and there's a little bit of video about the family. And then you can go in and actually visit the family. And so, according online. It'll show you their house. It'll show you how much they pay. It'll show you what things look like, what they eat. And then you can learn more about each one of them. And so there's a bunch of things that you can do, particularly with the site. A lot of things that you could add in, if you were doing tutoring sessions with them. We have a Farm 360 that does farm and food tours from all over. They can go in and see any of these farms and just kind of go in and take the tour. We've got 360 cities. These are collections of 360 views of cities all over the country. Google Street View that they can go over and see views of landmarks and streets anywhere. There's a White House tour, so they can actually go in. I don't know how well my computer will do right now. And they can take the tour right here with the White House and just click on here and just go on in and see different areas. I could take a walking tour and just walk through the White House if you want. And so pretty cool resources that you can find there. We've got the zoo cams that from all over the world and also from San Diego, so they can go and watch a panda or a hippo or whatever you want. For parents, we have the websites that you could take this and put whatever language you want right there so they could see what we have explaining the site before they go. And I realize not all families would have, would want to even go to this page, but it's here if you need it. We've got PBS resources. We've got federal and student aid information, college preparation website resources for parents, life skill resources. So just things that would be helpful for them. We also have for teachers, These are the websites that have really cool, let me see if I can, like Prodigy is a math game site that you can actually put specific skills that they can go in and play. And so you can set up, these are all free, and these are ones that you can set up a classroom and you can track them. Desmos also has resources that you can go ahead and give them specific, like if this is related to math, that they can go in and have specific assigned. So we have math resources, reading and writing. Books is a library that of all different kinds of books that, my computer's kind of slow right now, that they can go in and get books for free, and they can read and be able to have access to that. Into the Book is a reading comprehension. They have a lot of different, games that you can do there. ReadWorks, NaNoWriMo, they actually go in and they can write their own novel. Story Jumper, that's where they can make their books. And there's math and reading resources. So we've got like IXL and math and reading, Khan Academy, Teach Your Monster. This is a way to work with them, specifically reading and math games for kids. But again, these are trackable things that you can see. Duolingo, you can set up your own classroom. iCivics, and financial literacy. These are all classroom-based ones that you can assign. They can have an account. And then STEM, there's for Code Academy and Scratch Coding. You can also do that. We also have just a few for you guys as far as career and college readiness resources, and then some college prep resources. So we really feel like hopefully these are sites that you can decide if it fits good. If you're a teacher, that would be helpful for you. We just thought maybe everyone was not aware, or maybe you have other ones that we don't have on there that we should add specifically that you can have. And so for our IDRC states that are getting our bags that we just sent out, we added the summer learning page as an easy way for recruiters to be able to introduce families to the portal. And so in their bag, let me go ahead and go show where it is on our website. If you're not an IDRC state and you would want any of these, on the front of on the What's New page, this is kind of the states are getting the bags, and they have these different supplies in it. So it's got the colored markers, it's got the nothing that can melt. So we have colored pencils. They've got some really cool erasers, whether they might look like ice cream or a soccer ball. And then we've got a puzzle that they can put together, a pen that has like the 16 different colors that they can write with, and a little notebook. So maybe you're going to challenge them to try to listen to as many books as they can, or to do some of the drawing resources. But this particular page is an easy way to introduce them to the portal. And so we've got the Learn to Draw videos. These are done by a man that has a lot of different kids. And so he draws with each one of his kids different projects. And so every single one of his videos shows him drawing and has the kid draw right next to him. And so you can pick one for, if it's a pre-K kid, you can pick, and they can draw. And these are very easy to use. The kids really enjoy them. And so we have a how to draw. Google has a quick draw resource, which is kind of cool, that you go in and maybe they don't have the resources, don't have a lot of pens, colors, papers. You go in and Google gives you a little bit of time to try to do something. And using AI, it tells you whether you're drawing the right thing. And so this is just something that's available. This AGGIO is a really cool drawing tool that has a lot of Photoshop related things, but they can share the link with another person. They can draw together, and it's totally free. An auto draw. This is a really cool website that you can go here and you can draw together also, and it has some tutorials that you can kind of play around with. This Drawing Now has tutorials. And so we were thinking that something that might be kind of cool for a family is they're listening to books, they're learning to draw, and then Storybird actually has a way that you can create your own online book. And so they take their illustrations and they write a book. And so we also included FunBrain right here. FunBrain is the one that has all different books that they can read for free. And so for our IDRC states, we just challenge you to sit down with them. Maybe you invite them to, maybe you're going to check back and see how many books they've listened to. Maybe you're going to encourage them to, check out the drawing websites. And then through that process, you can also say, hey, parents, this is something that you can specifically go in and, you can look at any of these other resources. So it's an easy way to start that discussion. And you can see that this could be very deep. You could do full-on tutoring sessions using this. And then you can kind of see. Now, if you're an IDRC state, then we can give these to you for free. If you're not an IDRC state, we are offering it just at cost. And the order form is right here It's with our hygiene bags and the bags. So you could always make your own. You don't have to go through us. We just have had lots of requests of, could we possibly get bags too? IDRC states, we're just sending everybody 100 for free. If you're not an IDRC state, then you can just, again, go to the what's new page. You don't have to buy it from us. You could come up with your own. And we do have, so on this same page, we have the QR code. So the QR code can be used anyone. So Francis, what state are you? I see. You can just put that in the thing. So half of the states, IDRC states have gotten their bags, and half of them, they're still in the process. No, North Carolina is not an IDRC state. So we just have 26 states that are, so North Carolina is not one of our states, but the QR code, you can go ahead and use it. Alabama is not one of our states either. I think our IDRC states know, but if not, you can go on the front of the website. And if you're not sure if you're one of our states, if you scroll down, our member states are listed here. So Texas is not. Lori is. Louisiana is one of our states. So if you're not, if you want to order them, you can. If not, you can make your own. You can just see what you wanted to use and put the QR code and share it. Texas, unfortunately, is not one of our states. Here are our states over here on the side. So you can kind of see which states are members of that. So that really is, that's the portal. And we're hoping that it's really helpful for you guys. Kentucky is one of our states, and I don't think we've sent them the bags yet. So you may want to talk to Christina. Like Emily said, when we go around and do another round, maybe more states will join us. But we hope that this is really a cool resource for you. I know my personal job is in working with recruitment, but my heart is in services. I love to recruit because I want to be able to help students. And so that's where we really want to make sure that we're not just doing all this effort for recruiting and not serving students. And this was our way of trying to hopefully level the playing field. If you're in a state that says, I don't have hardly any resources to even help students, you've got something to start out with. And this can be as awesome and as deep as you want it to be. Of course, it's not the only resource that's out there, and you may have something that's way better. But we did want to put this out there so everyone can use it. Can states share with other states? If not, what we can do to be an IDRC state. So maybe I'll press the stop recording right here.